Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Yin Gentle Movements. My name is Michelle Chua. Please make sure that you have a strap or a rope of some sort. Even a t-shirt can work. We're going to use it later on. And then, of course, the blanket or beach towel and 1 or 2 blocks. Let's begin in child's pose, or please begin in child's pose. I'm going to stay sitting up so that I can talk to you better. So as you come down into child's pose, you could grab a pillow and sort of bear hug it, straddle it between your thighs. You could even stack a blanket over that if you want some support. As you bring your feet together or towards each other at the rear. And you might even like to place a block underneath your forehead if you want to turn your face down. Otherwise, you can turn your head to one side for a few breaths, and then to the opposite side for a few breaths, giving your neck a gentle stretch. Take a moment if your body needs to shift around, if you've been pretty busy in your mind or your body today, just allow that energy to kind of shift around and be released in any way. It might even be through sound, growling, taking a few deep sighs, humming, fluttering the lips, whatever feels good to you to unpack, to arrive. So we began this week, today being Tuesday, exploring the second limb of yoga, and the niyamas, which are the personal practices that we use to help align ourselves to our inner being or our true nature. And the second niyama is what we're down to, and that is santosha. We defined it as contentment. Do you ever find yourself singing that popular song? I was singing it the other day. It goes something like this: I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if. I remember saying that just the other day. I'll be happy when this apartment is clean and decluttered. In the Bhagavad Gita, an article written by Emma Newland in Eckhart Yoga, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us not to look outside of ourselves for happiness, but to realize that peace and happiness lies within. When we rely on things which are external to us to bring us freedom, we inevitably bind ourselves to discontentment and even more. Our ego experiences joy, pain, loss, desire, greed, and happiness, and we ultimately become attached to these experiences by either attempting to push them away or by clinging to them. Remember, we talked about the kleshas, or root causes of suffering: aversion and attachment, clinging. So many of us have become imprisoned by lack and find our expectations choking out appreciation for our lives. When was the last time you woke up and spent a minute focusing on all the things in your body, life, and world that are working beautifully? Let's infuse that question throughout this practice as we slow things down, as we welcome stillness, letting that stillness be a moment to pause and consider what's working well here right now. So as you start in child's pose, what is working well? What do you feel in your body that feels very functional or supportive of the rest of the parts? Can you feel what is physically supporting your body externally from beneath? Can you feel how your breath is naturally supporting your body? And then from here, I invite you to begin to walk your hands back closer to your knees, letting your chin drop towards your chest. As you take a slow breath in, begin to roll your spine upright so that you lift your skull last. And then finding a comfortable seat, whether on top of a folded blanket, a pillow, or a block, where you could sit slightly more forward towards the front edge of that prop, allowing your pelvic bowl to slightly tilt forward as you draw your lower belly inward, lift it up slightly towards your heart. And then as you ground to your left and right sitting bones, lift up through the center of your spine. Lift up to your crown and let your chin parallel itself to the ground as you glide your chin gently towards the back of your throat, lifting even further through the back of your skull. And then just resting your hands in your lap. Take a deeper in-breath, feeling where that breath is moving, where you can feel it the most. Exhaling slowly through your mouth. Listen to that breath completely empty out. And then maybe a little slower inhalation. All the way to the top. Pause a moment to feel that fullness. And then slowly letting it go out through your mouth again. Listening to your own breath. Pausing at the very bottom, feel that emptiness. And then once more, deep breath in, allowing your pelvis to become heavier, rooting down towards the earth. Linger at the top of your breath. And then exhaling through your mouth, can you allow your spine to lift a little taller while still relaxing your body? Let your shoulders relax down, let your face and your jaw relax too. Feel the bottom of the breath. And now if you can, just closing the lips, allow your breath to enter and exit your nostrils. And you might even close your eyes as you focus on really filling up your belly and your rib cage so that you're using your diaphragm, filling up fully, expanding the walls of your rib cage too. And then as you exhale, softening the belly inward to hollow towards your spine. Equal length of in-breath, equal length of out-breath. We're going to enter what's called bellows breath, helping to enliven and cleanse your lungs, as well as to clear any sort of cloudiness in the mind. And it's done a little quicker with the mouth still closed, equal in-breath, equal out-breath, where you really use your diaphragm, fill up your belly and lungs like this. You can think of an accordion and get that bellow, Bhastrika Pranayama. So you might practice for a moment and then stop to rest. I'm going to set the timer so that we can have a continuous practice of bellows breath for 1 full minute. And those of you that feel like adding a movement to this, a little more energizing, we begin with the elbows bent apart, 90-degree angles, and the hands like fists. When you inhale, you raise your arms straight up, keeping the shoulders relaxed. And as you exhale, you rebend your elbows and refist your hands like this. All right, so let's give it a try. Whether or not you use your arms, setting the timer. Ready? Begin. Just rest to a natural breath. Let your hands rest in your lap. Maybe close your eyes and just allow a moment to observe the effects on your body and mind. Sitting here, let's continue to lengthen the breath through the nose. Now beginning Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathwork, where you're softly narrowing the back of your throat, closing the lips if you can, and sustaining your breath equally in and out through your nose, creating a gentle whispering sound. Feel the inhale expand into your belly and lungs, filling up your whole torso. Feel the exhale gently draw your belly inward towards your spine. Listening to that soothing whisper as you breathe. Take a look at your legs, and if you are sitting cross-legged, I invite you to switch the leg that's forward or on top. Press your palms face down onto your lap. Sit up a little taller as you relax the shoulders down. And maybe close your eyes, but inhale, rotate your spine to your left, then forward. Exhale your spine to your right, then back. So imagine that your spine was like a top that's just finishing its spin. So it's slowing down. Tailbone is at the bottom. Follow your own pace of breath, a few more cycles of Sufi rolls. Now, instead of allowing your upper body, your shoulders and neck to be rigid and stiff, can you let them loosen? Sort of like thin branches on a windy day. And then switch, circling your spine the other way, breathing out, breathing in. Perhaps you allow your skull to begin dropping with a sway. Maybe you let your shoulders begin to move more organically too. And perhaps you change the diameter of the circles you're creating with your spine. Okay, so we're going to continue on with some other movements. Coming back to center, blink your eyes open, and let's rise up to stand. So on our Metta date, some of you were there, we practiced some wonderful Qigong to open the heart meridian. It also helps to awaken the meridian for the small intestines. And there's a movement, begin with the feet touching, like you're in mountain pose, that is connected to the breath. And like I've taught some Tai Chi practices before, think of more or feel more of the energy or the gestures in the movements. Not so much about the technicality. You want it to feel good and flowing. So the importance is letting energy flow in the areas that you're moving especially. So have your knees loosely bent. You're spreading your toes. You're feeling the support of the earth below. I'm going to mirror you as you inhale. Step your left foot out to the side. Your feet are just a little wider than hips distance, generally parallel. As you imagine that your palms together, pinky fingers touching, are scooping from a cool river below. You're lifting that water to pour over your head and your entire body as you look up at your palms. And then keeping your pinky fingers touching, then bring the backs of your hands together so your fingertips point down as you contract the belly, watching the hands point downward. Then you inhale, open your arms like a bird soaring. And as you exhale, you step the left foot next to the right and come back to that mountain pose. Then the other side is the same. Right foot steps out, feet are wider than hips width. You scoop the water, pinky fingers touch, breathe in. And exhale, pour the water over your body like a purification. Backs of the hands come together, pointing down. Inhale, the arms open, palms face down, bird taking flight. And then exhale, you step back to center. Keep going. Inhale, scoop water towards the sky. Exhale, pour it over your body, pointing down at the earth. Inhale, open your wings to soar. Exhale, back to center. Other side, inhale, scoop the water, pour it over. Exhale, pointing down, look towards the earth. Inhale, arms open, wide wingspan. Exhale, back to center. Again, inhale, step it out, scoop the water, look up. Exhale, pour it over you, then look down. Inhale, wide wingspan. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, scoop the water, looking up. Exhale, pour it over you, looking down. Inhale, open your wings. Exhale, back to center. One last round. Inhale, scoop the water, look up. Exhale, pour it over, look down. Inhale, wide wingspan. Exhale, back to center. Last. Inhale, scoop the water, look up. Exhale, pour it over you, look down. Inhale, wide wingspan. Exhale, back to center. Then step your feet apart just a little wider than hips width. Let your weight shift side to side. And as you're shifting, let your body above your feet shift as well. Maybe the hips sway a little bit, like you're listening to a nice lounge chill song. Maybe a little reggae. Your shoulders shift as well. You let your pelvis dip on one side and the other. Maybe your skull will rock. Give your neck a little massage. Breathe. You could even close your eyes if it feels better that way from the inside. Breathe out. Lifting your left arm like you're backstroking. Look at your hand. Move up and behind you. Exhale to your side. Right arm up, backstroking. Look behind you. Exhale down. Inhale, left arm strokes. Look behind. Exhale down. Inhale, other arm. Look behind. Exhale down. One more. Breathe in. Wide stroke. Exhale. Last side. Breathe in. And exhale. Now, keeping your feet parallel, still wider than hips width, bend your knees, and then start to roll down into a forward fold. Knees so bent that your belly could meet your thighs. And then let your arms either dangle, you can shake them out if you like, or catch hold of opposite elbows and begin to softly sway your spine. Letting it just hang loose, letting your skull and your brain be heavy to help relax your neck. All the while, you're floating your shoulder bones slightly away from your neck to give your neck even more freedom. And if you're crossing your arms, switch the cross of the elbow on top. Taking a few more deep breaths here. Let's give the jaw a little massage. Deep breath in, flutter your lips, make a sound. Couple more, breathe in. Let your lips flutter. Last time. And then as you let your arms go, keep your knees bent, tilt your weight forward a little heavier on the balls of your feet. And then really picture your spine, each vertebra like blocks, Legos restacking from the bottom up. As you inhale, start to roll up, stacking the lower vertebra, and then the middle of the spine eventually, very slowly. Thoracic spine, the cervical spine, all the way up to the top of your head. Lifting your shoulders too, then exhale, roll your shoulders back, then down. Inhale your shoulders forward and up. Exhale them back and down. Two more, breathe in. Fill up your chest and breathe out. Can you feel your shoulder blades massaging circles onto your back ribs? And then just shake out your hands, bounce it out a little bit. We're gonna come on down to hands and knees. As you place your fingertips on the floor like spider hands, hollow the center of your palms. You're going to bring the feet together in child's pose with your elbows off the floor here, so your fingertips are reaching forward as you're drawing your pelvis down towards your heels. Now, as you slide your shoulder blades down your back ribs, can you allow your throat to open up towards the floor, whether or not your chin can make contact with the ground? So you're looking towards the space between your thumbs, drawing the shoulder blades away from your ears, sinking your pelvis towards your heels. Breathe in. Slow breath out. Now keep your right fingertips where it is, and can you crawl your left fingertips another inch or few forward towards the midline of your mat, like it's trying to walk over to your right hand as you lengthen the left side body, anchoring your left sitting bone towards your left heel. Now picture your left lung, and can you imagine breathing a little deeper into it so it feels like it's pressing the left wall of your rib cage. Two more breaths like that. And place the left hand back to its side. Lengthen your spine through center. And then crawl your right fingertips another inch or few forward than where it is. And crawl it over to the left slightly, so you're still on your mat. Unlike we usually do these lateral stretch, they're more subtle, but we're refining. And you feel the slightest bit of shift in the right side body as you anchor your right sitting bone towards your right heel and plug your right upper arm bone into your right shoulder socket. Now imagine breathing deeper into your right lung, allowing it to gently press the right wall of your rib cage, stretching your intercostal muscles. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Once more. And then from here, separate your hands, shoulders width, and start to slither your chin, your chest, your belly. Stick the pelvis up in the air, and then just pause with your tailbone up into the sky. And can you allow a little more opening in your throat before you slowly lower all the way to the ground into Sphinx pose? As you land in Sphinx, see that your elbows are about an inch in front of your shoulders with your palms face down. Imagine them standing at the rear of your mat, pulling your ankles lovingly towards the rear edge of your mat as you point your toes back. Now feel every toenail. Can you fan them out onto the earth and press each one down, even your pinky toenails? And as you do that, keep your hands still, but imagine as if you're dragging your hands back towards your hips. As you take a deeper in-breath, and you smile your collarbones wider across your chest and lift the center of your chest. Exhale, soften your shoulder blades further down your back, lengthening the back of your neck. Gaze just ahead of your thumbs for a few more breaths. Not only is this a heart opening or a back bending, shoulder opening posture, but it also helps to bring some detoxification into the kidney area. Your lower back ribs. Imagine breathing into that area. One more breath. As you set your chest onto the earth, crawl your fingertips outside of your mat, bending your elbows wide apart And then keep the tops of your feet heavy on the ground as you peel your chest gently off the floor, breathing in, rolling your shoulders behind you and down. And then start to dance your shoulder heads, one back, the other back. Maybe you dance your skull gently side to side or up and down. Just allowing a free flow of energy through the joints of your cervical spine, your thoracic spine, your shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Even let your facial muscles dance a bit with any faces you want to make, any sounds you want to create. Last few breaths here. Just dancing your cobra pose a bit. Then as you slide your palms flat alongside your floating ribs, take a deep breath in and hug your elbows close to your sides. As you exhale, press the floor away and rise gently to hands and knees for a few rounds of slow cat-cow. Inhale, glide your chest through your upper arms and coil it up, look towards the moon. Exhale, hollow your belly as you bow, tucking your tailbone beneath. Inhale, lengthen your sternum through your arms, drawing your shoulders back. Exhale, hollow your belly to dome your back. About 3 to 5 more cycles of breath. Letting your body and mind ride the sound waves of your breath. When you finish this breath with an exhale, relax to a neutral spine and glance for your strap. Go ahead and reach for your rope or strap, and let's come to sit either on the floor or on a folded blanket in a seated version of a squat. You want to have your pelvis slightly raised, depending on comfort for you. Splaying out your thighs. Turn out your legs from your hips so that the center of your knees point out in the same direction, the same degree as your center toes. It may help to flex your feet if you feel any tenderness in your knees or for more stability. Now take that strap in your right hand as I'm mirroring you here, holding one to the strap. Wrap your right arm behind you. And take that long side of the strap, place it just outside of your left thigh. With your left arm inside of your left thigh, find the other end of that strap and begin to walk your hands as close together as you can. Now, some of you might be able to clasp your fingers, let go of the strap. So you're gently nudging your inner left thigh open with your left arm. As the thigh stabilizes against the arm, you're rotating your chest to the right for a spinal twist. It allows you to open your chest in front of your shoulders. Now, as you take a deep breath, root down through every body part that's touching the ground or what's below. As you breathe out, lifting through your heart space, lifting through your crown. See if you might be able to rotate your chest a little more. Letting your shoulders melt downward as you continue to twist. And if it feels okay on your neck, you might be gazing upwards past your right shoulder. Or you can experiment. If you want some movement, you can softly gaze up and then gaze down at your left shoulder. feeling out how your body responds to the different flavors and spices you choose to experiment with. Make it your own recipe and let it taste good. We're down to about 5 more slow breaths on this side. And when you're done with your 5th exhale, unwind your spine and arms and just come back to center. Before we take the second side, we're going to take 3 rounds of a heart chakra activation movement. So it's an inhale, you blossom the arms like a backstroke, lifting your chest, gazing up. And as you exhale, you hug yourself. Contract the belly round, drop the chin. 2 more. Inhale, like you're pulling off a shirt here. You're lifting the arms and coiling the chest up. Switch the other arm on top as you exhale to give yourself a big hug. Last time, inhale, blossom, lift the heart. Switch the other arm on top, exhale, hug in. All right, let's take side 2. Strap in left hand, wrap the left arm behind your back. Take the other end of the strap, place it near your outer right thigh. And then right arm crosses on the inside of the right thigh to find the other end of the strap. Walking your hands as close together as you can. Right arm nudges inner right thigh open. Inner right thigh stabilizes against the arm. Perhaps you clasp the fingers. Root down through both sitting bones, through your feet. And then inhale, lift your spine from your pelvis, drawing your shoulders down. Exhale, rotate your chest to your left. Continuing as you breathe to explore the journey within the pose. What's working well here for you right now? You may like to experiment, if you haven't already, looking down at your right shoulder and then gently looking up towards the sky past your left shoulder. Let's give it another 5 deep breaths. Have you found a spice that you like, a variation that you like here? Let's stick with that for these 5 breaths. And when you're ready to, gently unwind your spine, come in through center, and just straighten your legs forward. You may want to shake out your legs or gently fist out back. Maybe roll out your ankles or point your toes if you're flexing your feet a lot. A few deep breaths in through the nose Big sigh through the mouth. In through the nose. Big sigh. All right. So have some pillows and blocks nearby as we set up for double pigeon pose. Sitting up, and if you're an object, please come towards the front edge of it. Let your pelvis slightly tilt forward. Let's begin by straightening your left leg forward. Turn out your right leg at the hip. Flex your right foot and cross just on top of your left thigh. This is one variation. Here you might put a pillow or several objects to be able to lean into. I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes on each side. So this is just one variation. Another variation into double pigeon is you could either sit cross-legged or if you're able to stack your shins so that your ankles and knees stack. Your shins are parallel like fire logs. If you have a big gap, place a block or pillow or folded blanket there. And that gap might decrease as we're here for 3 minutes. You can adjust to lessen it if you need to. So make sure if you are stacking your knees and ankles that you're supporting your knees by flexing your feet in a way that you can't see the soles. You're pressing the big toe mounds out to the sidewalls, rounding your sitting bones. And then now have whatever props you need to catch your forehead. Make them as thick as you need. This is where you can get really creative. Make your tower of blocks. Lift your chest, open your throat, and then you can turn your head to one side if you like, or get another prop for just under your forehead to rest face down. Before we switch sides, let's be here for 3 minutes. Feel your breath in and hear your breath out through your nose. Here for just a few last breaths. Now exiting very slowly, very mindfully, pressing your hands down into the earth, gently lifting your spine. And when you eventually lift your torso, let's extend the legs forward again. Get a mat that they might need. A little jellyfish dance, whatever you need. Deep breath in. Maybe a lion's breath sticking out the tongue. 2 more. Breathe in. Last time. All right, side 2. So right leg extends forward, turning out the left thigh from the hip. Flex your left foot and cross the ankle just above your right knee. Just pause here. Notice how this might feel, knowing that one side of the hips may need a different variation than the other. This is one variation. Another variation is to bend the bottom knee and sit cross-legged. Another variation is to come into that stacking of the ankles and knees, where you flex both of your feet in a way that you can't see your soles. The big toe mounds are pressing out towards the side walls. Reground your sitting bones. You could even move the flesh aside from your glutes. And then lift your spine as you sink your pelvis. And then set up your tower, whatever you need to support you here. Remember that if there's a gap between your left thigh and under, you could fill that gap with something. You want to feel completely supported in your body here so that it has that feeling of trust to unravel. Again, setting the timer for 3 minutes. Checking in. How is your breathing? We have less than a minute left here. And again, gently pressing the ground away. Gonna lift your body upright. Once more, extending your legs forward. Any kind of movement you need, jellyfish stance. And then from here, please look around and see that you have a block, maybe 2 blocks. Set them off to the side near the rear edge of your mat. And then all the other props, just somewhere you could reach for them too soon, as you come to lie down on your back. And once lying down here, bend your knees, set your feet on the ground, taking 1 block to start. Lift your pelvis and slip the block just underneath the flat part of your lower back, your sacrum. Now here you want to scoot it not too close to the bottom edge of your glutes, so you can feel as much surface area of your back supported by that block. You may want to grab a second block in just a moment when we start to come into the posture, and stack 2 blocks if you want a greater height, if you want a deeper sensation. But let's begin with the first block, and you can see how it feels as you focus on opening the hip flexors. Keeping your left foot on the ground, bend your right knee closer to your chest and catch hold of your right thigh or shin, drawing your right leg closer to your right ribs. Begin to straighten your left leg forward to whatever degree you can, flexing your left foot and pressing the heel down onto the floor as you keep your left knee and middle toe pointing straight up towards the sky, not turning out the leg. If you're not feeling much yet in your left hip flexor, the top of your left thigh, here's where you would add the second block or tilt the first block to the second level height. I like to have 2 blocks as it has a greater surface area to feel stability. So as you found the right height for you on this side, let's stay in this hip flexor opening posture just a few more breaths. You may like to circle your right foot at the ankle or point and flex the toes. But for your left foot, spread your left toes. Press the big toe mound of your left foot forward to feel a lengthening down the inseam of your left thigh, left calf, inner heel. And just take about 5 more deep breaths here before we switch. Deep inhale. Through the nose, softly whisper it. And when you finish the 5th breath there, set your right foot on the ground, bend your left knee to step your left foot on the ground, and just pause here in a more neutral position for 2 to 3 breaths to feel any difference. Preparing for side 2, bend your left knee towards your chest, catching your thigh or shin, and begin to straighten your right leg forward to whatever degree you can, keeping the heel on the floor, your right knee and middle toe facing straight up. Gently drawing your left leg closer to your torso. You may like to give your left foot some movement, stretching the ankle, the shin, the calf, and throughout your foot. For your right foot, spread your right toes. Imagine you're stepping on the brakes, so press the big toe mound of your right foot forward. Feel the lengthening down the inseam of your right leg. Last 5 breaths here. you're ready to, set your 2 feet on the earth, bending your knees, and just pause again for about 3 breaths to observe. Then removing any props from underneath your sacrum, gently lower your spine and pelvis. So we're going to set up for Shavasana. An option, since some of you request, or several of you requested hip openers, is to take Supta Baddha Konasana as your Shavasana pose, if that's comfortable for you. It's where you splay your bent knees apart and bring the soles of your feet together. But a nice restorative version of that is to use a blanket, roll it up like a long cylindrical pillow or snake. And what you'll do is cross the middle of that snake over your inner ankles and then loop the ends of that snake underneath your outer thighs, adjusting the thickness by how much support you need under the outer thighs so that you can truly just let your thighs splay out. For those of you that want a little more opening of the chest, you can arrange your 2 blocks, one tallest height beneath your skull, second medium height crossing your mat to land the area that's just under your shoulder blades onto, so that your neck has length and your shoulder bones can drop downward into the open space as you turn your palms to face up. Some of you might prefer to keep your legs just straight out. Maybe place a pillow across the mat just underneath the backs of your knees to offer the lower back relief from any tension it may have. Just allowing the feet to splay wider than hips width, dropping the ankles free. Now find the position, find the recipe for your most comfortable Shavasana for today. And when you arrive, close your eyes. Maybe take one last deep, controlled breath out, long exhalation. And allow you to, do you observe? How does your skull feel here? Can it truly feel a sense of surrender? How do your shoulders feel here? Do they feel balance and release? And then inquire with the different areas of your body as you move all the way down eventually to your toes. Celebrating with the parts of your body that are really enjoying this, that are showing what's working. Here are some words by Janet Stone. We hear all of this talk about gratitude and how great it is, and this I believe to be true through and through. However, she has a sister who doesn't crave or get much attention or require 30-day challenges. Her name is Santosha, and she rests in a subtle place that can't be brought forth with challenge. She comes to us when we are not pulled by our preferences, by our likes and dislikes. She arrives when we rest instead in deep okayness with what is, exactly as it is. When we pause from giving the power of our emotional state to someone or something outside ourselves. When we stop trying to manipulate others and maneuver ourselves to get the things we like and to avoid the things we don't like. When we stop seeking and looking over the fence at what someone else has that we don't. When we cultivate a pathway to a center point within that does not waver, that is not based on condition. When we fall in love with our life exactly as it is. One of the oldest men alive was asked the secret to longevity. He replied, "When it rains, I let it." So for those of you that like to join me sitting for 5 minutes of silent meditation, allow your body to gently move towards a seated position. Take your time. As you sit comfortably and upright, perhaps resting your palms in your lap in any gesture that allows you to focus. Maybe the eyes are closed or a soft gaze is steadied on an object in front. Let's practice contentment of being as we sit here at Observer Mind. So here's a little game. The next time you might catch yourself singing that old tune, I'll be happy when, or just when you remember to play the game. Perhaps instead, ask yourself in this moment, what is working beautifully right now? Carrying that practice of santosha off the mat. Let's bring the palms to meet at the heart, bowing in to close. Is there anyone you might like to share the benefits of your practice with that you're feeling right now? Maybe just call them to mind as we offer a chant of Om to close. Take a deep breath. Om.